Let's talk a little bit more about how we can play with the PCA. We can actually go into the PCA plot and grab a population that's of interest, like this one, and plot it. I don't like the color, so I'm going to change that to bright green. And when I go back, I find, surprisingly, those are the monocytes. So I just found the monocytes by gating on principal component analysis, gating back to my light scatter, and there I have my population. Now I can find other things like this funny looking piece of data up here, and I'm saying, well, what is that? So I gate it. It comes up a wrong color, so I go change color. I'll make it light gray. I have a suspicion it's probably noise or something, so I'll reduce the size of that now. Now I'll go and have a look in my light scatter gate and find it. It's a bit hard to see, actually. I'm struggling to find that light color, so I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to click on the gate over here, and I'm going to change the color to something like maybe bright red. And now I will go back and find those cells in my scatter, and you can see they're across the top. They're above the neutrophils. There's a few of them around, but mostly they're up right on the top axis. So these are noisy pieces of rubbish, most likely. So at least I now know what that population is, which is taken from purely gating on principal component analysis. So if we now look at plotting different populations by principal component, and I can go through the different principal components, and all the colors that I've selected will remain for all plots, and I can even go back and plot something like forward scatter versus CD45. So forward scatter is on the bottom axis, CD45 on the left, and now I've got PC1 versus forward scatter. And I'm now getting some idea of what I already know about forward scatter and what I don't know, which is the principal component. Here we have forward scatter versus principal component 2, and you can see that there's multiple populations there, and most of those populations are pink, indicating that they're lymphocytes, which is not surprising because the forward light scatter is smaller. And you can see that most of the neutrophils are probably those black cells, and of course they're larger. And we determined that the monocytes are somewhere in between, so this is not surprising. By the way, if we click on show labels and we have a large number of cells like we had, it'll take a little time to pop up, but it'll show you the number of every single cell. It's all sorts of little features that are hidden away in the software. And going around the principal components can show you the different views of how the populations would look if they were plotted, looking at every or almost every possible rotation of these cells. There's a lot of things you can do in playing with the principal component analysis. Now if we take those lymphocytes again, that pink gate, and create a new plot, here let's just plot, say, CD4 versus CD8, and there are our CD4 and CD8 populations, and here's a dim CD8, and we can gate the dim CD8, bright CD4, make it cyan, and then we can see where those cells fall in the principal component space. And in fact, they're shown up in all plots that we have.